Very good. Davion, could you please give a quick physical description of your character and their role on this team?
Davian is a very generic average-looking human of slightly small stature, wearing a leather World War II pilot's jacket. His role is a rigger.
Very good. And finally, Shakespeare, what is your physical description and role on this team?
Shakespeare is a tall, lean, and muscular orc. He has dark skin and long black dreadlocks, typically kept tied back in a ponytail. He is Inuit, and so a northern American tribe. He was a smuggler, so he doesn't like to go in loud. He will try to avoid violence if possible, but he is primarily here to be insurance in case things do go bad.
Well, I think we have a well-balanced team for this kind of run. This run comes to you through the Shadowlands BBS, rather than anything particularly forwarded to you by your fixer. It's not that descriptive. I've lost some ice and need my ice recovered. Time critical. Please send dossiers and meet at the Stuffer Shack next to the Needle. That's a reference to the Space Needle on top of the Seattle Center in the middle of downtown. So you send through your dossiers and you get some messages back that the meet is in 1 hour from now, which for most people would give them just enough time to get to downtown. So Turkish has actually thought about who is this Johnson, and this Johnson has absolutely no reputation in the Seattle underworld or shadows or anything. In fact, you find nothing on this guy. Like, you just don't know who this guy is. I mean,
Okay.
Well, okay, so you don't know who this guy is. That is not to say there's nothing on this guy, because you're only looking at what your own knowledge is, rather than anything in particular, like matrix searches or asking around contacts and so on.
Fair enough.
Right, so let's roll down. Davion, with a machine pistol with stick and shock, a rating for sin, and a World War II pilot's jacket, getting to Bellevue. From Bellevue to downtown's pretty easy.
Very well.
The problem is, once you're downtown, not attracting too much attention. There's a lot of cameras, a lot of drones, high security presence. This is a AAA zone, and just looking at the map I've got here, which is to scale, by the way, you can see the massive corporate presence here. Admittedly, you're not going right in the middle of all the corp places, but you're not far away. So, you're a human, are you not?
Indeed I am.
Cool. Could you please roll a Threshold 3 etiquette check for me? Just to, see how well you fit in.
Etiquette, yes.
Great. The first point of each has been spent. Alright, Shakespeare, you actually live in downtown, so that's really quite easy. I mean, you live in downtown, and because of that, it doesn't even matter that you're wearing an armored jacket and you're rolling around with a machine pistol. You just know how to move around in downtown. It's sort of your home turf. So you can actually get to the meet at your time of choosing because you don't really have a travel time to worry about.
Okay.
So the meet was set to be in an hour, which will make it at 3 p.m. So let's say it takes maybe 20 minutes to get to the meet. So you can arrive up to half an hour early. What would you like to do?
Yeah, I'll arrive half an hour early and kind of look the place over before I decide to go in.
Cool. Do you have any knowledge skill which would be appropriate to this?
Let's see. In what context would you say?
Well, I can't be bothered opening up your sheet. but do you have any knowledge skill which would relate to security design, gangs, Johnsons, anything like
Street
that?
Gang Seattle, area knowledge Seattle.
Alright, just throw me a basic perception check then.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Throw me a basic perception check then, please.
Sure thing.
Oh, very good. You seem to have spotted your Johnson sitting in the back of the stuffer shack. He's a tall, broad African man with very dark skin, very Central African looking, rather than African American or South African or, Egyptian. Very middle of African, dark man. Quite broad, strong through the shoulders, torso, running a little bit to fat. But that's just contrasted by the two guys beside him. One's a equally dark African orc, built big even by orc frames, and the other is a African woman. She's human. She's got that weird sort of twinkle in her eye, and she's wearing a quite nicely cut suit, same as the slightly broad African man, whereas the African orc is wearing sort of an African cut style armored jacket. These guys look a bit out of place, just because a combination of ethnicity, how they're sitting and whatnot in the stuffer shack, and they seem to be a little bit on edge. With what you know, you'd put that down as the Johnson and a pair of bodyguards, where at least one bodyguard and one advisor? You don't really know. But they're in the back of the stuffer shack already. Would you like to do anything about that?
I'm going to go in and browse the stuffer shack and just kind of wait around for other people to show up.
Cool. Could you please throw a sneaking check?
Sure thing. Is that affected by urban specialization?
Yes, and if you have the innocuous quality from cutting aces, that may also apply. The stuffer shack is doing quite a roaring business on a Monday afternoon. Yeah. So, as you're browsing around the stuffer shack, you hear a voice, quite near to you. In fact, it's just behind your ear, and it's actually quite quiet, but you hear it. Hello, Shakespeare. Please come over to our table. You've already seen us.
I'll turn around. The voice is not from someone nearby. It's just kind of a disembodied voice.
Yep.
I'll kind of shrug my shoulders and head on over.
Yes. The African man says, I see you were smart to come early, but we were smart too. And that's the extent of my African accent, because it's going to be terrible. And he says, please, get something to eat, to drink. There are other people on their way.
I will go ahead and get a soy burrito or something like that.
Yeah, cool. So, Turkish.
Hi.
You're coming from Bellevue. Yeah.
Before I leave, there's a thing I'd like to do.
What
And
would
that's
you like
summon
to
a
do?
spirit.
Yeah, okay, sure. Right. How much stuff how many foci do you have?
3.
Okay.
A Force 4 power focus, a Force 5 health sustaining focus, and a key focus for astral perception, Force 4.
Cool. How many quicken spells do you have at the moment?
8.
Great. Let's see, that's... Cool, can you please throw me a threshold 8 etiquette check?
Okay, if I get my entire dice pool in hits, that's a thing that could happen.
So, at my table, I'd like to note that there are soft moves and hard moves by the GM. When I do something to a player, the worst that can happen is a soft move. When the player puts themselves in a position, then hard moves may occur. So,
Alright.
this will only ever be a soft move because I'm doing something to you. However, if you wandered into some place you shouldn't have, then hard moves occur. But yes, this is the middle of downtown. People who take notice of you are not just restricted to, cameras and people walking around.
Yep. The spirit, by the way, is going to be on Astral Overwatch, and it also has orders to warn me of any nearby mana barriers so I don't walk into them by accident.
Alright, cool.
That should be either 1 or 2 services, I'm not sure.
I'm going to say it's going to be 2 services. One for watch out for mana barriers, and the second for Astral Overwatch.
Sure.
Yeah. It's essentially look for spirits and mages. Okay, cool, that's one. Look for mana barriers, that's another.
Yep.
Right. Brilliant.
Evil GM laughter after my first dice roll, that's good.
No, that wasn't evil GM laughter. Trust me, you'll know when I have evil GM laughter. Right, your spirit, as you arrive through downtown, just sort of appears. It manifests in the passenger seat of your car and says, "Summoner, you are glowing
Yes.
quite brightly, and many of my kin have taken an interest."
Turkish will pull out a pair of clip-on shades for his shades from his pocket and put them on, and he's now astrally perceiving, and he'll have a look around.
Yeah, as you astrally perceive, you look into the rearview mirror and see sort of a stream of low-level free spirits starting to trail along behind you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
He'll
That's about it, really.
he'll kind of, like, you can communicate on the astral without actually talking out loud, right?
Of course, it's telepathic.
So Turkish will kind of, hey guys, what's the deal here?
The spirits go, "You glow brightly. Please empower us."
So how many spirits are there?
Let's see. There's currently 5 of them.
Okay, so my initial thought here was to give them some reagents and make them go away that way. But I have a feeling that this may be a, don't feed the pigeons sort of situation, where if I start giving reagents to random spirits, then that may have the opposite effect of what I'm intending. Like, is there some sort of magic-related knowledge skill that would give me an inclination of what would happen if I were to do that?
Right, do you have magical theory? Or knowledge spirits?
I have Arcana, that's about as close as I can get.
Yeah, just roll intuition -1. You're defaulting. Actually, roll logic -1 because it would be academic.
Alright. Oh yeah, I forgot to say, okay, do you want me, like if I take psych, do you want me to do it after or before this roll?
You haven't taken psych yet. You have to announce psych taking because it's got like a 10-minute warm-up time, doesn't it?
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll roll the dice and then I'll take the psych afterwards.
Yep. Yeah. You're pretty sure that these are just small things tagging along for astral tidbits of power and leftover, signatures and like wisps of dissipated mana. they're all low enough level that you're not too worried